In this lesson, we're going to learn how to save and manage Excel files. This is one of the most important skills for beginners because it prevents you from losing your work. If you have ever closed Excel and couldn't find your file again, this lesson is for you. Now, many beginners don't lose their Excel work, because of mistakes. They lose it because they don't know where their file was saved. So let's fix that. But before then, what does save mean in Excel? Now, saving means storing your Excel file on your computer so you can open it again later. Now, Excel doesn't not automatically choose the best place for you. No, you must be intentional about where you save your Excel file. For example, in Excel, the save button can do two things. One, save a file for the first time. And two, update a file that already exists. Now, what it does depends on whether the file already has a name and location. Now, let's start from this first one, save a file for the first time. Now, there's a button here. If you hover around it, you will see save. You can also use Ctrl S. Now, if we click on save, it's not going to update it. It's going to ask you for the file name and location. Now, before now, the default name for this file, or if I go ahead to just save it, will be book1.xlsx. At this point, we want to give our file a name that would always remember to go back to. Now I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to say practice 101. And then we can decide to choose any location we want. It's currently showing me like documents. I can decide to save on desktop. I can decide to go for more location and save. We have desktop, we have documents, picture, new folder. The essence of saving our file in the right way is for us to be able to go back to it. Now, I did not save this because I was trying to show us the different file location. So now I'm going to save this on my on my desktop. I would name it practice 101, and I'm going to come here and put it on my desktop. Now, this is my desktop over here. Let's look for the file here. Look at it over here, practice 101. And then let's go back to our teaching. So we've been able to save our file name as practice 101. Now, into it, what's the other thing this save button can do? Now, what the save button can do is, if we start working on it and we do like our name, customer ID, and the likes, and we want to save, we can come here and keep updating. It's not going to ask us for name anymore. However, if you notice that the kind of Excel I'm using has autosave. So the only thing I have to do is just to give my file a name. I don't have to keep updating because my autosave is turned on. Now, if your autosave is not turned on, please kindly turn it on, or ensure that you come here and you keep updating it. So once your file is saved, save only, update the same file, same name, same location. So let's move to save as. Now, there's a difference between save and save as. When we started, okay, I'm gonna cite another example, because if we come to file now, we don't have save as anymore. What we don't have save as anymore. We have save a copy. Now I'm going to create a new Excel file. A new Excel file here. If I go to file, you will see save as here and the option of save. Now if I come here and save, I'm going to also give it a file name, and I'm going to also choose a location. That is one function of save as. Another function of save as, after a file has been saved, it would automatically come up as save a copy. Now this save a copy is making a duplicate. For example, if I click on save a copy here, I must ensure I am trying to save a copy, which means I want to retain my practice 101, or I want to give it, is either I want to make a different copy apart from practice 101, or I want to change the name and retain the same copy. Now, what's the scenario? Let's take, for instance, I clicked on save a copy and I come here. I still leave it as practice 101, right? And the folder, I leave the folder. I'm gonna browse the place. I'm gonna one moment, and I come here, I click it on desktop and I say save. It's gonna give me two options. It's going to say practice 101.xlss already exists. Now, do you want to replace it or you don't want to replace it? Now, if I replace it, the current version of the data is what it will retain. If I say no, I have not made any changes to this file. So if I want to make a copy, I can come here and then change the name to say practice 102. If I say practice 102 and I still save it on the same desktop, it will not ask me to replace. Both of it would remain as one will be original and another one will be a copy. So whatever changes we make in the copy is not going to affect the original. Now let's browse the location we're going to save this file. Now if I come here and put it on my desktop and say save, you see, now we are going to have practice 102. We're going to have practice 102 and also practice 101. Now let's go back to our practice 102. Now currently, so I've gone to practice 102. Now I want to show you that we can also come to practice 101. See, both of them are still the same thing because I've not made any changes. Whatever changes I make to practice 101 would stay in practice 101. Then another changes I make in practice 102 will remain practice 102. And like I mentioned earlier, that autosave is like a modern reality. Autosave would automatically save changes to your current file, but it only works after the file has a name and location, right? So instead of pressing save repeatedly, it will update. If you press 1, automatically it has saved, right? Even if I don't click on save. So autosave updates and you still decide. So now, saving our Excel file with a name that is relatable to our practice or to our data is very, very important. When I was trying to save the current file that we were working on, I named it practice. I named it practice 101 because we were practicing. And when I was trying to make a copy, I also copied it as practice 102. Now, when we learn to save our data or our file, or when we learn to give our file name a name that is related to what we are working on, it makes us not to lose our data and ability to locate where we saved our data. For example, I've seen a case where somebody was working on a data or on a file and wanted to save it because he just needed to get over it. I'm not racking my head, that kind of thing, and was just like, I'll remember this, and then he saved it. Now it might look so simple that this is multiple S, but trust me, sometimes the simplest letters are the ones you don't even remember. So by the time you are thinking, what could I have saved this with, nothing will come to your mind because it's SSSS is not related to anything. But for me, practice. Or let's take, for instance, we're working on financial data. You can just make it financial. If it's financial data that is related to the end of the year, you can just say financial reports, or financial, and it depends on you. Anything that will make you remember. If it's reports you're making, if it's financial analysis you're making, just ensure that it has something related to the data you're working. That way you can remember, and even if you don't remember the location, by the time you go on the general search of your computer, you'll be able to filter and get your file name. Now let's do a practice challenge. I want us to create a new file name, and then you clicking on save, then name it practice file 101. Then go ahead to turn your auto save on if it's not on already. Then make few changes on your data. Just try to put in 1 or 2 things on it, and then watch Excel save it automatically. Because when you close it and go to where you saved it, you will see that even without continuously saving, right, it is updating itself. Now the last practice is to click on save a copy and name it practice file 102. Now you have 2 separate files. Great job! Knowing how to save your Excel files properly protects your work and your time. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to sort and filter data, which is where Excel starts to really feel very powerful. If this lesson helped you, like the video and subscribe to continue the Excel beginner series. See you in my next video. Bye.